How's it going, y'all? Rosendo from MLH here, getting it wrapped up. Global Hack Week, Data Week. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last workshop of the week, but I'm glad y'all are here with me. If you are tuning in, drop some comments in the chat. Let me know that you're with me right now. Would love to see it. Otherwise, we're just going to jump right into it. Today, we're going to be doing a workshop called Intro to Google AI Studio. So if any of y'all here are enthusiasts of generative AI, absolutely stick around, absolutely keep it locked because we are going to be going through some amazing content. It's going to be pretty eye-opening, I think, for most of the folks out there who are not familiar with Google AI Studio. If you are familiar with it, you're kind of aware of like some of the things that it can do, or maybe you've seen it before. Maybe you've attended one of our AI roadshows. Maybe you've seen the workshop done at a previous event or a hackathon. Otherwise, this is really just going to be a revamped version of some of the things that you may have seen in the past. And we've got someone saying, hey, what's going on, Ramon? I appreciate you. Thank you so much for dropping a comment in there. All right. So let's dig right into it. First things first, we're going to do some housekeeping here. Go ahead and scan this code and register to check in. We'll also send some instructions for you for the workshop, for the demos. Essentially, you'll be getting an email campaign that gets triggered when you do register and check in. So make sure you do so. You could use that QR code, or alternatively, you could use the link that I have here as well. And once that's done, let me know. Shouldn't take you too long, especially if you already have a MyMLH account. But for the folks here that haven't done it yet, make sure you click into that QR code or utilize that short link that we have up on the screen. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and keep this one scrolling across the bottom of the screen for y'all so you can have reference to it throughout the entire workshop. Now, my name is Rosendo from MLH. You might have seen me. You might know me from some of my other work, some of the sponsor workshops. I'm typically the one introducing the folks that come in. If you haven't met me before, pleasure to meet you for the first time here. Although, I do tend to frequent these workshops quite often. So just a little bit about myself. I'm working in customer success at Major League Hacking. I've been empowering hackers for the last 5+ years. And also I am a huge Knicks fan. So, two of those things are great and one of them not so much. And I think it's the Knicks fan thing because, lately it's been a really up and down struggle for the team, but otherwise I'm still representing. So shout out to all the Knicks fans out there, if any are available, or just, basketball fans in general. We could chop it up about that a little later. Let's go ahead and move on. All right. So learning to use AI throughout your development flow is now an essential skill. So a lot of folks may be seeing a lot of hype about generative AI or just AI assistance in general. Really, we believe that you should be using it as part of your development process, not just here and there as an alternative for like a Google search or any type of search engine. You should really be utilizing this actual skill set as part of your day-to-day development. The reason for that is because software creation has already changed. You're not going to be entering the industry any longer as an individual contributor, but rather you're going to be a manager of agents and tools. And I think this paradigm shift as far as the way that we're approaching software development, the way that we're actually going in and building things with code on a day-to-day basis, committing to this change is going to give you a huge competitive advantage once you do enter into the workforce. Once you do get that first role, you're not going to be coming in at level 0 as a total beginner, but you're going to have basically you're going to have a tool that's going to let you level up to the point where you're actually able to build out like full applications in a fraction of the time that it used to take, being the subject matter expert, the human in the loop that's now become even more important than ever. So definitely something to take into consideration as we're going through some of the content in this workshop. Let me know if you have any comments about that, obviously in the chat. If not, let's go ahead and move right along. So the other thing I do want to mention is that MLH events are a great place to learn about AI and LLMs in general. So this is a really safe place for you to experiment with those AI tools, low stakes. There's not going to be, like, if you make a mistake for the first time, you're not going to be you're not going to be punished for it. It's actually something that we encourage. We encourage folks to come in and really try to push the envelope when it comes to developing these new skills, especially if it's something that is brand new to you, right? We want you to use this as a place to develop those skills. Honestly, you're exceptionally lucky. If your professors are even talking about LLMs, you probably don't really have the opportunity to learn these skills in a classroom, which is why, learning in the MLH events like Global Hack Week or hackathons is a great place to really start to onboard some of the some of the new things that are coming into the industry and becoming widespread. Generative AI being one of them. So, for the folks in chat, who knows the difference between AI Studio and the Gemini app? And you know what? If you don't know the difference, that's fine. The question's out there for y'all. I will be demonstrating what the difference is a little bit later on, but something to noodle on because they are two totally different things, as you're gonna see in a moment. So let's go ahead and dive right into what's going on here. So Google AI Studio is actually a playground with free usage and beta features specifically for creators. It's got things that'll allow you to not only generate code or chat with an AI assistant, but you'll actually be able to go in and generate full on, like commercials, video content, things that probably would have taken you a ton of time to do on your own or a ton of expertise to do on your own. But it's also going to allow you to build out full-fledged applications. We're going to be walking through all of these features in a second. And just to let y'all know, we're going to be speed running these demos today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a quick start and we're going to grab some API keys and I'm going to show y'all how to do that. Next, we're going to discover grounding with Google search and also URL context with the chat application here in Google AI Studio. We're going to stream a real-time live multimodal models and see how that can actually assist us in our day-to-day basis. And then finally, I'm going to build and deploy a raffle app. And I don't know, maybe we'll use it. Maybe we'll use it to raffle off to the folks that are in chat that are actually participating. And yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first step of our content here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Google AI Studio. So this is what it would look like if you jump into the Google AI Studio dashboard. So first off, let me just go in here. You're going to see all of these different things. It's a ton of different functionalities that you could actually utilize. And I apologize if I'm like staring off into the actual screen here because I have a separate screen set up. But first thing you could do is go into the chat feature. We're going to be going into that a little bit later. Stream feature. You could generate media, as I was mentioning before, and you could also build things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into the dashboard area, and we are going to create an API key. But before we do that, let me go ahead and drop a link in chat for y'all to actually go in and be able to access Google AI Studio yourself. So go ahead and click into that link down there. I'm also going to drop it in chat for y'all. Let me make sure that we have it. And it looks like we have a comment. All right, we've got someone that's recently used Nano Banana from the Google AI Studio. That's awesome. It's one of the newest models that are on there. Definitely something to check out if you're unfamiliar with it. We're not going to be using Nano Banana today because it's going to be a really like beginner-friendly sort of workshop, but we will be using some of the other models, and I'll kind of walk through what that looks like in a moment here. As I mentioned before, we're going to be creating an API key. So it's really simple. And the reason we're creating the API key is because I want to show y'all how to actually programmatically leverage Google AI Studio and some of the basically like utilize the the quick start guide here. So you're going to be clicking into the create an API key. And if you're joining us and you're actually signing up for an account yourself, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're probably going to want to be on a non-education account and on a personal account. So make sure you do that. Like I said before, I've dropped the link in chat here. It's mlh.link/AI Studio. Get signed up for an account. You're going to get some free credits to start off with, and you're going to be able to follow along with this. And if not, you could watch the recording a little bit later and yeah, do everything that we do on the workshop itself. So you're going to click into one of the projects that you have. If you don't have a project, you'll probably just be able to go in and create an API key. But here I will click on the create API key in existing project. I'm actually not going to do it because I don't want to expose my API key, but I will let y'all know that I've already grabbed one. Once you click this button, another modal pops up. It gives you an API key and you could copy it over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into VS Code and you're going to see I've already set up an end file, so I've got it as a variable in there. I'm not going to show it to y'all, but just rest assured it's listed as an API key inside of my environment file. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump into the quick start guide. So you can either click here on the API quick start guide, or you could have it open like me and you could jump right into it. So I'm a little bit more familiar and comfortable with utilizing JavaScript. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and start to utilize some of the code here. And this is going to be, like something that walks you through making your first request. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to install Google AI, Google's generative AI. And a lot of you have probably done this in the past, but I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like here. I'm just going to use NPM to do it, copy and paste that directly in here. And you're going to see that, all of that information is going to get pulled into my project. Yeah, you don't need to worry about the things that need NPM funding. This is going to work regardless. The other thing that I do want to do, however, is I want to create some sort of script.js file so that I could plop that code in there. So it's going to be an empty file right now. The other thing I want to do is I want to also install .env, because I'm going to be pulling my API key from the environment folder. And once that's done, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my package.json, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this a module type. Ooh. Yeah, and let's just go ahead and hit that. And as you can see, my package.json now has this as a type of a module. It has the two dependencies that I need in order to get this to work. I've got my environment file up there. I've got the script.js here, and it's waiting for some code. And we'll just go ahead and jump back into that application here to kind of grab this code here. And as you can see, it should work. And I'll walk you through what this looks like in from a code perspective. Obviously, it should work. The only thing that we do need to do is we need to go in here and import .env from .env. And then we're going to import that .env file as well. And then here it's going to, like, our little assistant is going to do a lot of work here for us. It's going to hit us up with that API key, process.env Gemini API key, and it's going to pass that into the const AI, and it's going to create a new instance of Google Gen AI. So that's pretty cool. So now what I could do is I can go in here and I could actually change the contents of the query that we're passing into Google Gemini. And here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this. It's giving us a suggestion, write a poem about the sea in the style of Shakespeare. I'm going to, since I am a huge Knicks fan, I'm going to say create a list of the starting 5 players for the New York Knicks in the 2025-26 season. And we're going to run this. So now that we have our query, I'm going to go ahead and node script.js, and it's going to run for us. And you're going to see something pop up inside of the console log because we are requesting the response text to be console logged after this function is run. This main function is run. All right. So it's going to take a little while, but as I mentioned, we're just kind of walking through some of the functionalities that you will encounter when you're in Google AI Studio. It's a really great way for you to kind of get a taste of how you could programmatically leverage some of the generative AI things that are happening here. And yeah, I mean, it's taking a little while while we're doing that, and it is kind of bringing up some of the results for us. I'm just going to walk back here and take a look at this code sample. I use JavaScript. You can go in, you could use Python. And if you're using Python, you would install it a different way. You would still install Google Gen AI. You could use Go, Java. You could even use REST, and you could use AppScript, which is pretty cool because it's like something that lives inside of the other applications within the Google Suite. So let's see what's going on here. All right, so it's given us a list, and as you can see here, for the 2025-26 season, it's telling us that Jalen Brunson was the starting point guard, Dante DiVincenzo is the starting shooting guard, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Isaiah Hartenstein are all the starting 5. But the problem is these are not actually the current starting 5 for the New York Knicks. So for the folks out there that are saying, hey, this isn't right. This isn't what I was asking for. I do want to say that there is a reason for this. There is a caveat you have to consider when you're utilizing generative AI and just Google AI Studio in general. And one of those things is going to be the knowledge cutoff for some of these LLMs. So in order to kind of show that to y'all, I'm going to jump back into Google AI Studio, and I'm going to jump into the chat function. And what I'm going to show you here is when you come in, and right now I'm using Gemini 2.5 Flash, you're going to see that the knowledge cutoff is actually January 2025. So once again, if I ask that question to the chat the same way I programmatically did it in the in VS Code here, and I'll just go ahead and grab this once again. The reason that it's not able to give me the most recent information is because the information that it currently has is only limited to is basically limited to anything that was on the internet or fed to the model since January 2025. And here, in order to kind of display that to you, I'm going to turn off grounding with Google search. I'm going to go ahead and click into this, and then I'll run it, and it should give me a very similar response that it gave me in the JavaScript program that we were running earlier. And it's going to formulate the lineup there, as you can see. Like I said, it's just going to give me the same. It's pretty much going to give me a very similar response, something that doesn't necessarily reflect the current state of my beloved New York Knicks. It's funny. It's evaluating positional needs. It's prioritizing player fit. Yeah, this is a really interesting. It might be a little bit different actually now that I think about it, because some of these other advanced features on the right side here may be a little bit different from the quick start. But as you can see, it is thinking, it is trying to come up with an answer here, and it is, it's not really giving me the existing starting lineup. I've begun dissecting the task of creating the 2025-26 starting lineup. Currently, I'm defining key parameters, and it doesn't really show me the stuff that's there. Once again, it fits with players that are no longer even on the team. DiVincenzo now plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, while Brunson and Anunoby are still there. This is obviously not an up to date list. It's also talking about like Julius Randle, who also plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves now, and Hartenstein, who plays for the OKC Thunder, or who played for the OKC Thunder or Oklahoma City Thunder in the last season. So if you follow basketball, you'll probably get this, but the TLDR is these are not the players that are currently on the New York Knicks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this prompt again. And what I'm going to do is I am going to ground with Google search. So what this is going to do is it's going to allow Gemini to go in, and it's still going, it seems. Yeah, once again, same starting lineup that they provided last time, which is like woefully outdated. Actually, I loved the starting lineup when they were playing together on the court, but unfortunately not the reflection of the team as it is currently. So what I said before is I'm going to run the same query once again, and then I am going to utilize grounding with Google search. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow Google AI Studio to go in and use information or data that's already available on the internet, and particularly or specifically in this case with Google search. So let's go ahead and see what happens after I run this. Scrutinizing contract details, interesting stuff. Charting free agency, it's doing so much thinking, I love it. Investigating contract details once again. And while you do this, and this is the great thing, you don't have to think too much. You're using Google AI Studio to get you the information you need. Here's what I'm going to do while this is thinking for me. I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of coffee. We could even have a nice little chat as this is happening. You could turn around and, like start talking with your coworkers about what their dinner plans are for the rest of the day or anything else that they're planning on getting into. I could ask Ramen, like, hey, how was your experience with Nano Banana when you were using it in Google AI Studio earlier? And I would still have time to go back and look at the results of the query that I just input into Google AI Studio. It's really nice. It's a time-saving trick. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to be really surprised. As you can see here. Oh no, it's still giving me bad stuff. Projected starting five. This is terrible. I think what happened is, since the season hasn't started yet, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go back and I'm gonna do this again. 2024, 2025. Create a list of, here's what we'll do. Create a list, create of the New York Knicks roster 2024-25 season. And this should have the information from the end of this year as well, because the lineup did change towards, like, the September model. Here's a projected roster for the Knicks in 2024-25 season. So yeah, so here, this is, a little bit more up to date, and we could kind of do a side by side with this as well, unless anyone has any questions. Will we get a recording afterwards? Priscilla asks, yes, all of this information is going to be on our YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com/at Major League Hacking, and you will see all of the recordings for all of the content that was run during Global Hack Week, as well as this. So as you can see, it's pulling, this is actually the most up to date, like up to date roster that we have. So the main thing to kind of be aware of here is that Karl Anthony Towns is like part of the team here. And yeah, this wouldn't have been available if you hadn't like turned on Google search or grounding with Google search. So definitely something interesting here. It's showing me the content that I actually need, the most up-to-date content. Once again, it is something that you are pulling from the internet itself. So now that I have that, we're gonna go ahead and move away from like the New York Knicks as a as an example. I think there's a little bit too much variability there for it to make for a good demo at this point. I think I was getting different results the last time I ran this, but for now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to something called URL context within the same search. So what you could do as well, you could turn off grounding with Google search, and you could actually give URL context for the actual search that you want to run. And what that means is you can give Gemini a specific link to actually utilize for a query. So, well, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and grab this. We're going to create a list of the New York Knicks roster 2025, 26. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to search ESPN.com, and I am gonna grab the actual projected Knicks roster, and it should give me exactly what we need. And let's see here. Let's just go into teams, and I'm just doing this in the background here for y'all while you take a look at my Google AI Studio. And here, we'll see here. I'm gonna just click roster, and I'm just gonna drop this into the chat here. We're just gonna drop this into the browser, and it should pop up, and y'all should see that as well. Not just the interesting blue screen there, but as you can see, all right, so we've got the roster right here. There are like a couple of different changes that we want to sort of take into account. So what I'll do is create a list of New York Knicks 2025-26 season roster in the 2025-26 season, and then use this. And I'm going to run it. I'm going to turn on URL context here, and we'll go ahead and run this. And it should give me like exactly what is located on that page. And the reason this is going to be important is because we're actually going to be able to use this programmatically as well. And I'm going to show y'all how to do that in just a second. Oh no. All right, so here are the guards. It's giving us the roster as well as all of their existing contract dates, and it's essentially, yeah, it's giving us everything that we needed. This was without grounding search; it was just with the URL itself. So that's pretty interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at the comment section here as well. I think I got some questions coming in. Let me jump in there. Is this the last session of MLH GHW? Yes, this is going to be the last session for Global Hack Week data. So, I'm glad that y'all tuned in, because right after this, there's going to be the closing ceremony where we'll give a shout out to some of the hackers that participated, some of the projects that they built. So definitely stay tuned for that. That's going to be in about 36 minutes. And we've got someone saying, hi, how you doing? All right. So I did say that we're going to be able to go in and leverage this programmatically. So as you can see here, I've got all of this stuff turned on, And what I could do is I can take these same settings and actually get the code. So, which is pretty interesting. So I've got it in TypeScript here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this entire thing. And I'm going to jump back into my VS Code, and I'm gonna create a new file actually. So touch um, URL context.js. So cool. So I'm gonna drop that in here. I'm gonna copy and paste this stuff in here, and then I'm also going to kind of copy and paste this stuff here as well, so that I can also give access to my .m file, and then it's going to update the process.env Gemini API key for me. So as you can see here, there is going to be a bunch of different things that you could actually toggle here. The thinking budget, the model that you're utilizing, your role. And then here, we're going to, and then there should be a URL context as well somewhere. And if it's not, we'll go back and rerun this. Oh, here. So you have URL context here. I'm going to try a different type of question. What I'm going to do here instead is I am going to put in the mlh.io events page. And if you're familiar with that, that is essentially our like the page that we use. Oh, I see. Okay. So it should be type. There you go. That's going to be the page that we use to have all of the different events that we have throughout the season at MLH. So the text that I'm going to use here is I'm going to say, I'm going to say, create a list of the, I'm going to ask for it. Create a list of the events happening in the 2026 MLH season. And once again, this is just me doing this programmatically. There is no grounding search activated for this. It is just going off of the URL context that I gave it, which is obviously the link that I set up here. So it's pulling my API key. It's got everything it needs. Let's go ahead and run this. I'm just going to go ahead and say node URL context.js. All right, it's doing the right things. I should have probably cleared my previous content here so we could get a cleaner look. Huh. I gave you the URL. Maybe it is. All right. Let's take a look at this and see how we can configure this URL. Just give me a second here. I think I need to input some sort of different. Let me just quickly search here. Not sure why that is the case. I think I need to put like an empty. This is interesting. All right, URL context. So that's the context that we're giving it. Property assignment expected. Let's see here. There you go. That should be it. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's probably what it was looking for. All right, let's do it again. Interesting. It is not giving me. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I will give it the URL right here, and that probably solves it. There you go. So yeah, sorry about that. You had to include the URL inside of this text, not over here for some reason. And here we are getting an entire list of all of the events that are available in that URL. Pretty interesting stuff. Obviously, you can make the output a little bit prettier, but that's currently what's going on there. Let's see here. We have some questions in the chat. Yeah, is MLH organizing Hacktoberfest? We are helping to organize Hacktoberfest. We actually are currently helping to onboard new people participating in the event as event organizers through OHQ. So check out the Hacktoberfest website when you get a chance to. Yes, you are correct. This is going to be the last workshop of MLH Global Hack Week. All right. So now that we have done this part, you can see URL context pretty interesting. We've been able to go ahead and get the code for this particular query, which is really interesting. And if you go back into the actual AI Studio, you'll see that this code is actually it's informed by the stuff that we have here. So you can turn on grounding, you can turn up the temperature, turn down the temperature of your results. You can, if you have media, you can include different types of resolution speeds, thinking budget, you can turn that up, turn that down. And all of this stuff, when you actually get the code, it's going to be inside of the code itself. You're going to see that the temperature and the thinking budget have changed. You could also change the model that you're using. Obviously, the text is not going to be there, so you're always going to have to include some text in there. But obviously something that's really cool, and you're able to go in and actually utilize it in a way that you might do so in a hackathon setting, or like, if you're building out your own application. Definitely something to take into consideration. So with that, I am going to actually show y'all something super interesting here. We're going to jump into the streaming, into the stream where you can actually screen share with Gemini, and you're going to be able to go in and actually show it stuff, show it like a link that you want to work with, and it'll basically take a look at that link, take a look at the content of the link, and then give you feedback based off of the information it's able to gather. So this is going to be really important for folks, especially if you're using an AI assistant to kind of take a look at your code base, or you wanted to take a look at maybe I don't know, a website that you've put together, or you want to pull some data from a website. So here you can actually talk to Gemini here. You could do a webcam like interface as well, or you could share your screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit share screen, and I'm going to grab this entire screen, and it's going to show that I'm actually now. It gives you the option to go in and actually talk to Gemini, but since I'm going to be doing this workshop and talking throughout the presentation, as you can see here, the output format, I have not included audio and text, but only text here. So I am now screen sharing with Gemini. This is the screen that I'm sharing with it. It is the MLH 2026 season. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a query. I'm going to say, can you create a CSV file of all the MLH 2026 season events? And once again, this is pulling directly from the website that I'm sharing, that I'm screen sharing with it. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. And look, it's showing you the recording. That's interesting. Let's see here. Let's make sure we're going to turn on these items. Let's connect this real quick. Let's turn these on, and let's run it again. Share this screen. Now, we're going to run the same query. Can you create a CSV of the events you see on the screen I shared? And let's run this. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff here. Why are you being so problematic, my friend? Get code running. All right. So here's what I need to do. All right. So I'm encountering some issues. I think the main issue is I'm just going to drop this and start a new stream here. What I need to do is I need to maybe change into this. Okay. So I've got the correct model. Switch output from format to text, which is what I've done. Session context. Mute the microphone. All right. Let's try this again. We're going to share our screen here. And we have this one. So that's open. So I'm going to share. I'm going to share a tab instead. Maybe that's going to be more performant for us. There you go. I think that that was the issue. I was sharing this like the window instead of the tab. So I haven't really changed any of this stuff here. I mean, I had this on before. So let's go ahead and ask this question again. Sorry about that, folks. All right. So it's giving us all this stuff. And it is generating a CSV for us, as you can see, and it's got all of that information on there. What I can do is I can just grab this, I can download it, and I can create a list, or I could utilize this information for like, like basically anything I want. This is like essentially scraping this web page for this data. Obviously, it's publicly available data, so it's not a big deal, but this is pretty cool. So, these are all the events that are happening or that have happened in the 2026 season, anything that you're going to see in this upcoming events section. So, and is also giving you the Google search stuff there as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I want the results in a CSV. Can you do that instead? And probably not the best prompt, but let's see what it does. Oh, I said the same thing. Sorry. I meant to say I want the results in JSON format, or let's just say provide the same results in JSON format. So let's run that instead. Searching the screen, boom. And it's giving us all of these items in JSON format now. So now what I could do is I can go ahead and grab this file. I could upload this into a database that I have and, like have like basically access to this information. This is something that you could do for any type of website. Obviously, we're just using, like the website that we currently have available to us, which is the mlh.io /events. It's like, one of our properties. I don't think anyone's going to be mad on the MLH team if we're using this for demo purpose, but definitely something that you can do on your own. And then once again, you can also get the code for this as well. I'm not going to show y'all how to like leverage this in real time, because I would have to go in and actually like, import a lot of these libraries from the Gen AI Studio. But what you'll want to do is basically the same thing. You'll go in, you'll copy this code, and you could use it programmatically. It's not just something that you have to use directly within the AI Studio platform. It's definitely something you can do. You can do to sort of prototype code that you want to utilize a little bit later. So that's the live stream. That's the stream function. It's pretty cool if you ask me. Honestly, like it's one of like my favorite. It's one of my favorite features of the actual platform here, of the Google AI Studio in general. So as you can see, that CSV is like that JSON file is filled with a bunch of different information. So really cool stuff. So the next thing we're gonna do now is, unless there's other questions. Oh, we got someone that was like, "That's lit." It is kind of lit, isn't it? Pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna build an app with Gemini. So what the build function here does is it actually will create an entire application for you. And the reason this is cool is you can actually go in there and you could spin up the applications that are pre-built, just so you can like sample them. You also are able to save all of the applications you've built in the past. So earlier this summer, I built something called Cat's Whimsical Adventure. It was part of the AI roadshow that MLH did in New York City. And then last night, I created a raffle spinner, which is something I'm going to actually do again. I'm not going to show y'all that one, but I'll show you how easy it is to actually get in here and create something of your own. So I'm I'm doing a live stream workshop and I want to create a raffle spinner that will, I want to create a spinner that will help me pick a lucky raffle winner. All right, so let's go ahead and run this prompt and let's see what happens. So this is going to take a little while. As it's running, I will show you some of the other, like, really cool things that you can do with Google, with the build feature in Google AI Studio. As you can see here, it's thinking, it's creating a plan. It is starting to actually go in and check things out. Have you tried Fit Check, Rosendo? Sounds really cool. I'm not sure what that is. If you could provide a little bit more information for me, definitely would be happy to check it out. And that's from Tammy. And then we've got Dev. How many points does one need for swag? You just need to complete all of our registration challenges. And as you can see here, a couple moments later, we have code that's starting to write. They're doing it in TSX, obviously. So TypeScript, we've got an app.tsx and an index.tsx. We're having HTML file as well as a metadata JSON file. So this is just all of the dependencies that are coming in. On top of that, all of the code that you're going to need for this to be an application that lives on the web. Um, it's currently unsaved, but if you look on the top right corner here, if you're following along at home, you could do a ton of different things. You could go in, you could save it to GitHub. You could do a deployment of the application directly from your cloud account. You could share the app with your friends, and then you could also save it and add it directly into your Google Drive. So many cool things that you can do. And moments later, mere moments later, here we are. We've got the technology. We've got the code. I'm gonna hit full screen here so we can check it out in full screen. And we're just gonna do a test run right now. And as we do that, real quick, I'm gonna check out these questions. FitCheck AI is an interactive web application that uses AI to analyze your outfit and provide personalized. I don't know if that's a shot at me or anything because I wear like the same MLH sweatshirt all the time and the beanie. But I appreciate you. I will check it out. Actually, that's really interesting. Thank you for the recommendation. Um, Here we go. So I'm gonna add some people to this list, and since Tammy was the most recent person to go in and actually engage, I'm gonna add these two folks here. I'm gonna add Rahman 1976 as well. And if you've, if this isn't like an actual like a raffle yet, but what I will do, I'm just kind of like displaying it to y'all. We will be running a smaller raffle later on. This is just to give y'all the idea of what's going on here, and then and this is just for the folks that have actually engaged in the chat forum with me. So we're gonna add those folks here, and then we have Amarta Wagani. All right. And sorry, I need new glasses. I am like staring into the screen like an old man. And then we have Priscilla Yuzikian. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And that's as far back as I'm gonna go as far as this goes. Let's see if anyone else has participated. So as you can see, we've got everyone, we've got all of our raffle participants sort of queued up there. We're gonna give it a spin, and we're gonna see what it looks like when someone actually wins. Wow! So we've got Tammy is the awesome winner here. So I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it is pretty cool the way that this is set up. But I want to add a couple of more like features that I think would be really cool. So here's something I want to add. Can you make it so that fireworks and confetti appear on the screen once a winner is chosen? And let's see what happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and send that prompt over to Google AI Studio and see what kind of cool things it could actually do for us to help us out with when it comes to getting that feature set up. So you could do different things. You can get different features, and as you can see here, it's actually pulling like SVGs and just like graphics that are publicly available on the web to flesh out the UI and just like the general like look and feel of the website. I think it's awesome too. Thanks, y'all. And like this is like the TSX that's currently rendering the spinner wheel. It's pretty cool because it has like actual like it's actually dynamically setting up the wheel so that all of the wedges are completely equal and based on how many people are actually being added to that list. So this is pretty cool. And then on the left side here you can see it's developing the final celebration. It's implementing the fireworks. It says it's done, so it's created two new components, which is pretty cool. um let's wait to see. So I've created two new components. We've got the confetti.tsx and the fireworks.tsx now. So it's almost done. It looks like it's going in there and sort of like applying those new components. Oh, well, there it is. It's building out the new components. Pretty awesome. It's building out the fireworks now. Yeah, totally customizable. So we've got Ramon saying that was pretty fast and customizable. Yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty cool. Like honestly, this is my one of my favorite things when it comes to AI stuff because quite frankly, like it's just saving you so much time and you could learn a lot from it as well. It's not just you going in there and turfing all of your code work to your AI assistant, but rather like it's giving you the opportunity to actually look at how to build some of these applications if you've never built one yourself, especially if like maybe you're not familiar with TypeScript or JavaScript in general, or if you're using other types of languages and you're new to front end development. This is a really great way to kind of get your feet wet and understand what's actually going on under the hood, and you being able to actually go in and implement some of this some of like these frameworks in your own coding. So here we go. We're going to refresh this. Oh no, I've got to reset all of the folks. I'm just going to like person 1, person 2. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that. We're just going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So now that we add this, oh, let me go to full screen. Sorry, y'all. So we got we've got our participants lined up. It's 8 participants. We're gonna spin the wheel, and we're gonna see what happens. I really want to see these fireworks. I'm really excited about this confetti. Look at that. So we've got the confetti. I'm not sure if I saw the fireworks. I'm not like super pleased with these fireworks. Come on, Google AI Studio, what's going on here? Um, Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna leave full screen instead of having a modal populate. Actually, can you make it so that the fireworks are more visible? Fireworks and confetti are more visible when the winner modal pops up on the screen. Like them to be at the same z index if possible. And obviously, like I want to go in there. I want the celebration aspect of everything to be front and center along with the name of the person. So this is what I'm trying to do, and it's adjusting z index placement, it's adjusting visibility priorities, considering z index placement. Now it's doing a ton of things on the back end for me, and we can see how the code changes here, if anything. And like I'm just guessing that it's probably at a lower index than like it's sort of behind the modal when it pops up and it chooses a winner. So it's giving me some information here. It's saying that it's updated the app.tsx file. It is changing these things, and it looks like we are good. Looks like we are good to go. All right, so let's preview it again. And I'm just going to go hit this in full screen. And for demonstration purposes, obviously, we will 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And let's spin. And let's see what happens. Look at that. All the way up front. You saw the fireworks. That confetti is right there. So close, so celebratory. I love the pageantry that Google AI Studio really brings to the table. So I mean, I don't know what y'all think. I mean, I'm seeing some folks saying that's super cool. I think it's super cool. We've got someone saying it's awesome and that it's pretty fast and customizable. I don't know. Do y'all have any questions for me? Yeah, we got someone going, whoa. Yeah, that's the first thing I said when I saw it for the first time. It was definitely a whoa type of moment for me. I mean, do y'all have any questions, anything you want to see me build? We have 10 minutes here. So I would love to like get y'all, get your input and maybe build something different. Can we deploy this app? Oh, yeah. Let's try it. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to save it to GitHub. So let's go ahead and save this to GitHub. Oh, let me save my unsaved changes first. Save the app. Boom. So can we deploy this app? First thing we're going to do is we're going to save it to GitHub. And I'm going to say spinner for GHW data. And then cool application we built during GHW Data Week 9/2025, and we'll make it public. Create a GitHub repo. And like honestly, that's like really the cool thing about this. It kind of plugs in to all of the things. Yes, you can build something with music and audio. We can actually go in there and add some like, you know, different features like audio features. It'll pull sound effects for you. It's not something you have to actually go in and like input yourself, or you can customize those inputs yourself if you'd like. You can put in a file with sound effects that you can have like the studio actually pull from, but you can you can also just let the AI pick the music and the sound effects for you. I can add music to the Raffle app. Unfortunately, it's not going to be on GitHub. Probably when I save it again and then push, it'll like commit new, like it'll like create new commits on the what's it called, on the repository that we have featured there. Does anything stand out? So is Google AI Studio only for developers, or it probably has potential for other use cases? Yeah, definitely. It's not for developers. I mean, I'm not technically a developer in my day-to-day work. I work in customer success, as I mentioned at the top of the call. But like this is something that I find extremely useful, especially if I wanted to just build a quick proof of concept with with an idea that I'm like wrestling with, or like maybe if I had some sort of internal application that I wanted to build for my personal workflow. This is somewhere I would go to kind of get the answers I need, in addition to research and things of that nature. So first things first, I like obviously there are a ton of different use cases that you can utilize. So we do have a couple of more minutes. I'm going to try to get it deployed, but first I also want to add some music or sound effects. Can you add sound effects to the wheel as it spins, and some celebration music or sound effects in addition to when the winner is chosen? Let's see what happens. All right, so we've got Professor DNYC. Does anything stand out to you when Google AI Studio versus other prompt-based when using Google AI Studio versus other prompt-based editors? Quick integration with Google services does for me. Control of prompt and token usage is important, as many use the same stack if you do not specify them. Yeah, I mean, like here, obviously, we're utilizing all of the models from the Gemini tree. So you have like a lot of different options in terms of how much you're paying per token when you are generating these queries or generating these prompts. I like that about it. I also like the fact that it is integratable with Google Cloud. It integrates directly with GitHub. You can deploy directly. If Google Cloud is already your choice of cloud provider, this is definitely something that is going to be super useful for you. But on top of that, I think the accessibility of it is actually on a different level than a lot of the other um, prompt based editors that I've utilized in the past. So I mean, like I said, it's just really easy and simple to use. And for me, some of the accuracy for the actual application building, and I didn't get to show it to y'all today, but the actual generation of video content, it's really really amazing if y'all want to check it out. I know that there are competing models and competing services out there that do work on a very similar level, but I think that the accuracy that you get from the prompts and then your ability to go in and actually continue to drive those prompts to become more and more accurate based on what it is that you're looking for is something that you're not really going to be able to see with a lot of the other competitors, or at least in my opinion, it's just a little bit better here with the Google AI Studio and utilizing the Gemini models. So hopefully that like answers your question. I think it's a great product in general. Obviously here it's very usable. It's been very usable for me for the most part. When I was running this demo, there were a little bit of quirks there. Obviously, like we had some issues with the screen share. I was sharing the entire window, so I think like there was some context there that was missing from the model where it needed me to share a specific tab with the website that I was sharing. So that's like one thing that I'll probably consider as like an aha moment or a gotcha moment for anyone that's going in and utilizing the platform. But for the most part, this is like fairly intuitive, and a lot of the new features that they have coming out are like like they're typically really like listening to the folks that utilize this platform on a day-to-day basis or on a regular basis, and incorporating a lot of changes and new features in their product pipeline that's going to help us out in the future. So yeah, well, I use this app for swag winners. It's not going to be for swag winners for the entire sorry, for the entire event. For to get the swag for Global Hack Week, you're going to have to go in and actually complete the registration challenges that we have up, and that'll get like you'll get a letter along with a postcard from MLH and all of the stickers from this week's event. But I will be raffling off a swag drop to someone here, so I am gonna need to go in and fill out your participant names. So anyone that is actually in here in the actual workshop, make sure that you go in and register and check in for the event, because I'm going to be pulling that information directly from there in just a moment. And if you want to go in and register, that is the link there. And it looks like our sound effects are ready to go. So once again, for science, we'll just add some quick names here. We're going to spin it. Oh, you know what? I don't think I'm sharing audio because I'm hearing it on my end. Do y'all hear it? Ah, that sucks. I don't think y'all heard it, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm hearing it in my headphones. Okay, there are some errors here. It looks like there is an issue. So it's auto fix. Okay, let's say auto fix issues. All right. Well, we're gonna have to proceed as is because we are running out of time here, and we do have closing. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. You could see that it tried. It did add a sounds.ts if we go into the code here, and we could try to like diagnose what happened. But it did add a sounds.ts, and it looks like it's pulling from these from these sources here. It may be an issue with the source that it's currently using. It's trying to fix it right now. But what I'm going to do here is I am actually going to go ahead and start getting all of your names added, so that actually, here's what I'm going to do. Everyone in the chat, if you want to participate in the raffle, I do want y'all to go in and guess the number that is going to pop up on the screen, and the person that gets the closest to it without going over is going to be the winner. And I'm gonna, just for y'all your reference, I'm gonna remove that last one because that's ridiculous. Uh, for your reference, I'm gonna put up to 30 numbers here. Everyone choose a different number, but I will count all of your numbers up until the wheel stops spinning. I will be paying attention. So please do not try to cheat. There's not that many of you in here today, so there's no reason for anyone to be choosing the same number as anyone else. And remember, don't go over. It's up to 30. So anything between 1 and 30. And it looks like we have folks that are starting to guess. I'll give you a couple of seconds here. We are at time. So make sure that y'all get your guesses in now. All right, so I'm gonna spin it. And I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just having an issue pulling some of those sound effects, but it's something that you can go in and actually check out yourself. And it looks like someone guessed the number correctly. So, rah me, you are the swag drop winner. Congratulations. Oh, it disappeared, but it was an 8, y'all. Um, yeah, I will I will make sure that it gets out to you. What you need to do is take a screenshot of this screen here and just say that there was a swag drop that was given out during the last workshop of Global Hack Week Data Week, Intro to Google AI Studio. So make sure you get a screenshot of this. Open up a ticket with us at Discord, and we'll get you your swag drop. So I mean, yeah, that's gonna be it for today, folks. I'm really glad that y'all were able to come in and join me for this really cool workshop. Once again, like it's Intro to Google AI Studio. You can go in and you can check in, make sure that you are actually checked in, make sure that you're able to go in and register, because we are going to be sending additional information to folks that are like that are going to come later on after the workshop is done. And that's been it. Like, honestly, my name's Rosendo Pili. Once again, been a pleasure hanging out with y'all. Really hope that y'all enjoyed your time here. And I'll leave y'all to it. Make sure you stick around because we have the closing ceremony coming up right now. All right, y'all. Have a good one.